This is my chainsaw. There are not many like it, but this one is mine. That story is coming right up. As you just saw in my very, very poor rendition of a Marine, this is my new chainsaw. Here it is in all its glory. This is the Husqvarna 592xp, and it is a monster. I've got a 36-inch bar on it, and I wanted to go with the upgraded light bar, and all this means is it still has the same strength as a full out heavier bar, but what they've done here is, you can see closely, it's got these knockouts right all through the bar, and what they've done is they've backfilled it with resin to make the bar much lighter, but it still cuts like you would expect it to. So this is an upgrade. The whole bar also is stainless steel, so I don't expect any rust, or when it gets really overheated, this is really going to peel off. You're not going to see a whole lot of that. So it's pretty stout. The chain that I'm running on it is a skip tooth chain, so you can see here there's two gaps in between each of the teeth. Makes it a little more aggressive. But this is a monster of a saw. I've already taken it out on to some sites, which you will see in later videos, and it just chews through everything. There were some really large logs in the mountains, and this had no problem going through all of that. Again, you'll see that on the video. But I wanted to introduce you to my new saw, to the family. Again, the reason why we got this is because in the mountains, when we were at the foothills of the mountains a couple of weeks ago, the Echo 620 that I had, or have, I did a really good job going through all of the wood that was up there. But as you got further into the higher parts of the mountain where the Hurricane Helene hit, those trees and everything that was falling on the ground are much larger. We're talking minimum of 20 to 24, maybe even 36 inches in diameter trees. They're all hardwoods, very few pines. And the 620 Echo was doing a very good job going through it, but I really needed something with a lot more power. 60 cc's is really good, but 70 or above would have been much better, and I just decided to go with 90. The jump from 60 to 70 is pretty decent, but from 60 to 90, a 50% more cc and probably double the horsepower, pretty impressive. So that's where we stand. Anyways, a couple of things about the Husqvarna 592. So this number here, if you'll notice, it's 592. The 500 series is considered the professional series. If you're a serious logger, a miller, or whatever, you would buy a 500 series. And then the 92 here that you see is the approximate cc's that the engine puts out. So it's a 500 series, does about 92 cc's. There's a Husqvarna 562, which I have, which you'll see in another video. Obviously 500 series and then 60 cc's on that. So this is a beast. This is a beast. Now, I am not going to do any engine modifications to this. I'm not going to get it ported. I don't need to. It just has enough power to do everything I want. If I were to make a modification, let's say a new muffler, I'd probably get a bark box or something like that, but I'm not even to that stage yet. However, there are some modifications I will be making to this saw because it didn't come with what I really want on it. And that is, the very first thing I'm going to do is we are going to put a full wrap handle on this. I have already ordered one. It's scheduled to be here in the next day or so. I'm going to take this one out and make sure it goes full wrap around, and that's really going to be it. nice to handle when I'm bucking logs both sides. The other thing I'm going to do too here is I'm going to replace these dogs on it. I don't like the way these kind of grab into the tree. This top one, I could really use a long top one. I have one on the 620. I think I still have that here. Yep. Check this out. This is the one that goes to my Echo 620, and you can see this top dog here, the spike on it is really sticks out and really helps as a pivot point when I get it into the tree bark. And you can see it's much bigger than what's on there now. In fact, not only is it bigger, but the thickness of the dog is almost double. So let's take a real close look at that. You can see that's quite the difference there. So we're going to be putting the West Coast dogs on this Husqvarna, and if it looks anything like this is what it's going to kind of profile it here. You can just see how much bigger these are going to be on the saw, and then it should make it stick pretty well once it gets into a tree. And let's see, the only other modification I plan on making on it is maybe a new air filter. I think the air filter that comes in these are paper, so we may do an oil and foam air filter on this just to make it last a little longer. But other than that, you don't have to do anything else to this saw. This saw is awesome. The fuel I'm running in it is the Husqvarna 50-to-1 ratio fuel. It runs very well with that fuel. I did run a tank of True Fuel through it, and it ran just fine. So either one of those is great. Now that fuel is kind of expensive. It's here it is right here actually. It looks like that. Bam. Ooh, it got dented, I guess, huh? So, anyways, that fuel is kind of expensive. You try to go to a big box store, it's like $35 for the Husqvarna brand. I think the True Fuel can is like $23. However, where I bought this saw, they have those for like $23, the Husqvarna brand. So, might just start using that. If I'm in a pinch and I have my gas cans with me and I don't have enough of that other fuel, you can run the regular mixed fuel that you might mix yourself into that, and it works just fine also. Standard oil for the chain. I always, whenever I change the gas in it or add gas to it, I make sure there's oil, so you do them both at the same time. My only, let's take a look here. The starter position on the choke and the on-off position, it's decent, but it could be better in my opinion. And here's the reason why. I'm comparing what this looks like to my Echo 620 PW, which I don't have here because it's in the shop. But on the Echo, you have a switch to turn it on, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's the old style, silver switch. Fine with that. That's your on-off switch. And then the choke, you just pull the choke out, and then when you start it and you get that, to start it, you just push the choke back in, and you're done, and you just start it up. Very, very simple. On this one, what happens is I'm always trying to pull this out, and I don't know if it's in the start position or if it's an on position. I guess just turns it on. That's the start position, just sitting there in the neutral part of the choke mechanism. And maybe it's just a mental thing. I'm just not used to this yet. However, the cool thing about this is if you have a hot saw and you start this with the choke all the way up, the thing will still start up. And then if you press on the throttle, it'll go back down to the normal position where it's supposed to be, which is really neat. I've had that happen multiple times because I wasn't sure if I was able to get that in the right position. The other problem I'm having with this too is when you have gloves on, like I like using these thick leather gloves that I just bought, it's hard to grab this in here on the inside of this and pull it out. Whereas on the Echo, it's just that little tab, you just pull it out, and I'm able to do that with gloves on. But that's really minor, and it has nothing to do with the functionality of the saw. It's just a preference thing for my part, so don't let that inhibit you if you're thinking about this saw. But regardless to say, This saw is freaking awesome, and I would highly recommend this. Now, I did mention in the opening that this is my saw. There's not many like it. There are a lot of 592s out there, but I'm just making it my own because it does have this upgraded bar. And by the way, on this bar, I believe it's a Japanese-made bar, and they've branded it to Husqvarna. I don't remember the name. I'm probably going to say it wrong here. I'll try to put the text at the bottom of this screen. I think it's called Segura. I think that's the name of the bar that is on here. And then Husqvarna has rebranded it. Excuse me, but Husqvarna has rebranded it, and that's a very good. It's a very good brand, from what I understand, Japanese brand. Anywho, and then finally on the Husqvarna, when I purchased this, I asked the dealer, hey, does it come with a bar cover, bar scabbard? And he said he didn't have any. So you do not want, at least me, I don't want this chain and bar not being protected. So I actually had to go onto eBay, find a 36-inch bar cover, which is this one right here, which works perfectly fine. The only problem is, and it's not really a problem, but it's more humorous than anything else, is it's a steel brand. So the union of Husqvarna and steel, should I ever say that, how dare I say that, is in full swing here. So we're just going to put this back on and call it a day here. I'll try to get this on with one hand. But you can see here, it fits perfectly. I think I picked this up for like $15 on eBay, and a little bit for shipping, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, it's that's where we stand with this, and steel and Husqvarna working together. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, in all its glory. I cannot wait to get this back up in the mountains and start helping people again, probably in a couple of weeks, maybe sooner. You never know. But that is it. And if you have any comments about the 592, any suggestions, feedback, leave them in the comments below. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace out.